I'm alive. We're live. Okay. This is gonna be something else tonight. Oh boy. One of those. Just gonna share the stream around here and get us all prepped and set. Haven't missed a week since we started doing this, okay? That since what was it, March 22nd, there's been a show every single week. Like crazy. I never thought that I would do a show. I've never had such a prolific uh, outpouring of material, good or bad, just, material. But we got a whole bunch of stuff to cover. Thought it would be better to do it at night than now. Hello, Rue. How are you? Rue's in the house. Rue, we need a good nickname for you more than Rue. Maybe Rue Morgue. Oh, oh, we got Rue Morgue in the house. What's up, Peter? How are you? Oh man, that is that's official, man. It is official. Rue Morgue. I like that. Hold on. Sorry, I'm getting distracted here. How was everybody's week? Um I've had a crazy week. It's been a crazy week. Hold on. I'm a mess right now. Why isn't this why I'm always a mess. It's always a mess. Who watched it already? Who watched Verotika, huh? Did anybody watch it yet? It's on streaming on Shutter. That's like the main feature here now, but oh boy. Oh boy, it's gonna be a sticky night. Let's just put it that way. It's gonna be a sticky night. All right, there's one share. Sharing some more. Sharing some more. Gonna talk about Verotika. Trying to keep things entertaining. Alex Romero says that he did. Alex, I'm glad you did your homework. That's good because that's what we're here to discuss right now as I try and fill in the dead air by sharing this around to different groups of mine and things. Oh shit. Peter Peter watched it twice. Wow, man. Listen, I'm gonna watch it twice too because this is just part one of our Verotika deep dive. This is a two-part situation. We have to we're gonna have to revisit for the commentary. We're gonna do a watch along commentary. Peter says it's like a troll movie. I loved it, dude. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Kenny says he just watched it the other night. Got to get in on this conversation. Good. That's good because tonight's like the conversation kind of piece of things, and then I think it's going to be October 4th, whatever the next Monday is. That we're gonna do the commentary, and that's just going to be more focusing on the film. But we got to figure out a good way to watch it. Your face is very nice. Give it to me. I actually kind of fell asleep during that segment. I think I missed the back half. I don't remember how that finishes. I just assumed it was just over. I was like, oh, okay, because the first one. Hold on, we're getting into the meat of things. Hold on. I got some housekeeping items before we can get there. Okay, I even to make sure that I stay focused, people. I have an itinerary. All right, so we're starting with the unboxing. Unboxing what? Okay, I hope is John Voice of Doom in the house because well, first let's do Tony. Tony Matura sent me something. I didn't know who it was at first. I didn't even know that I got it. My wife received the tube. My wife received this tube, and I didn't know who it was from, and it just rested, and then I saw Tony had written his name on the tube, Tony Matura. I was like, what the fuck did Tony send me? So I'm gonna do a little bit of an unboxing here, right on. So what do you think Tony sent me? It's in a tube, right? This blew my mind. Let's see. How do I sound, by the way, tonight? I hope I don't have the robot thing going on. I hope. All right, let's take a look at what this is. Fuck. Fuck. There we go. Okay. It's something rolled up. It's made of it's paper. What's this? What movie is this from? It's paper. You ever seen actual paper? It's paper. It's real paper. It's paper. Nobody knows what that's from. Who? Someone tell me what movie that's from. It's really paper. It's paper. Does anybody know? No? All right. We'll stop asking. It's from Waterworld. Matter of fact, Tig from Sons of Anarchy. He's like this weird drifter guy who's like trying to do deals with Kevin Costner. He goes, "Oh, it's paper. It's paper." So we got some paper here. What the hell? Oh, look at this shit. Yo. Is that fucking cool or what? This is like a Xeroxed copy of the Misfits Irving Plaza. It's like full sized. Holy shit, dude. $6 with costume. Doors open at 9 p.m. This is from 1979. I mean, so Xerox. Wow, Tony Baloney, man. What a fucking... Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you. Dude, I had no idea. Man, I'm going to have to text him. Wow. Again, take a look. One more time before I put it away. Look how pretty that is, man. It's just a Xerox, but it's fucking cool, man. The Misfits with the Mad. The show that we've been like obsessing over. You're going to hear a whole bunch about it in 1979. Wow. Tony, thank you very much. That's our first unboxing. We have another unboxing. How about that? Another. Yes, Peter says I should put it in a frame. I definitely will if I can figure out how to frame this fucker. Probably would cost me a significant amount of money, but it's so worth it. I'm going to figure that out. Maybe I could like laminate it or something. I don't know. In any case, Tony, thank you. That was really nice. Our next package arrived today from the voice of doom himself. Evil Heim sent this over. John, voice of doom, as I call him. Let's pop this open. John sent us a pretty little care package here. Oh, boy. What could it be? What is the mystery? I mean, I have an idea by the media parcel that I've received. Ooh, I should do the split thing, right? So we can actually look at it. All right, so this is what I'm seeing so far. What do you guys think it is? I don't even know. I truly don't know. Let's see. I don't want to fuck this up. Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. All right. New knife is really coming handy. Okay. Open that. Wow. Wow, dude. Oh, he really hooked it up. He hooked it up just like Robbie Bloodshed did. Look at this. We got the fucking album. Look at how he packaged that. We got the Voice of Doom album. We've got picks, stickers, buttons. Let's open this sucker up real quick. Oh my Lord. Oh, what a wow. So the Voice of Doom, this looks like a demo of some kind. That comes with a sticker, a pick. Wow, what a cool package, man. Man, these guys know how to do it right. And then here's the this is a digipack of another of Saint Blaze. And this is on Pyrific Victory Records. We discussed what a Pyrific Victory is. And then we got some more stuff. We got a Voice of Doom sticker, another Voice of Doom pick, and some Voice of Doom buttons. I mean, I anticipated that once I saw this was in the mail today, I pulled up the Bandcamp because I knew I was going to want to talk about it. That was really nice, John. Thank you, truly. And it's not over, folks, because we got one more thing to look at. I promise we're going to get into Misfit stuff in just a moment. I like to do this in the beginning because, by the end, it's like, will people stick around as much? Look, you put some foam over this. Oh, the fucking toxic swamp. Wow, man. Wow. And it's got more fucking. Dude, every band. Are you in a fucking independent band, dude? Like, motherfuck, you should be. This is how you should be friggin' packaging this stuff. Look at this. Look at that beautiful sticker, man. That is fan service right there. I mean, man. Look, and it's got like the little crinkle paper because it's like supposed to be like a paper bag, I guess. You know, and this looks like a glow in the dark pick right there. See? I can't tell with my glasses on. I think this glows in the dark. If not, it's just a swamp green. Beautiful. That is beautiful. And then let's just take a look at the album real quick. Oh man. It's got some beautiful. It's got like a matte. So we got a matte finish on this. Right? And then look at the art on the back. It's so pretty. Cool. This covers us for supporting an independent artist in terms of highlighting, I guess, because listen, if you're in a band, send me a package. I'll friggin' unbox it on the air. We'll take a look. Oh my god, this vinyl is so thick. Francois says, Voice of Doom rocks. He's very generous with me when I bought the green 45. Man, you ain't kidding. I can't get this in. There we go. Look at that. There's something else in here. What's in here? Oh, geez. Oh, and a download card, man. Look at that. You get the download card. So, if you're not near your vinyl, your record player, you can still listen. Wow, look at that. It's so pretty. Look at that, dude. I'm going to spin that tomorrow. Look at that. It's like a dark swamp green. Gorgeous work, John. And the other members of Voice of Doom, gorgeous fucking work, man. Truly, this is an outstanding package, man. Outstanding packaging. If every band put the amount of care and effort into something that looks as beautiful as this to me, this is download proof. What does that mean? In an age where music is essentially free because anybody can download it off the internet, guys like Jerry Only, we're like, how can we make something that's so enticing to our fans that they would want to buy it instead of download it? And that's why those Jerry Only fit vinyl CDs are so beautiful to look at, even if the music is another horse of another color. You know what I'm saying? John, truly thank you. This is gorgeous, man. This is going to look so great amongst my other 45s. I'm glad to have this in my collection. Truly honored. And you know what? Let's just throw his link up there. Listen, I wonder if this is. I don't know if this is still available, but if it is, let's take a look. So here, I'm gonna pop this open. Actually, I have it open here. So that is the Voice of Doom right there. Right there. That's the album. That's their album. And then this right here. Here's what I was just looking at. Toxic Swamp. Let's see if there are any left. Guys, okay, there are 8 of these remaining, people. So if you like what you just saw, you can still pick one up. There are 8 left. Support independent music. Pick one up now. You just saw it. You just saw it the way I saw it. Swamp green vinyl. Francois feels the same way. Francois picked it up. He's a happy customer. So, check that ish out. Put this over here so don't get ruined. So check that ish out, okay? I'm going to put this link in the thing. There were 100 pressed. There's 8 left. You can pick yours up today. These dudes know how to hook it up. Thank you again. All right, moving on. We're moving on to guys. We're almost done. We're gonna get through this. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to highlight. So as you can see here, this is the Ko-Fi where this is the link to support the channel and the creation of this content. You can buy a cup of coffee. Many of you have. I'd like to highlight the latest dude to buy a cup of coffee. Marco from Chile bought a cup of coffee. So your name is going in the credits of 1979, A Year of Horror Business, as an executive producer. And I salute you, sir. Thank you so much. As you can see here, we're posting stuff. Think of this as a non-committal Patreon. That's kind of like what it is. It's like people support, and you can see all the people that have supported. And we've had a lot of people, a lot of listeners of this content, and I salute all of you because you definitely help spin these wheels. So I just wanted to highlight that. I'm going to put that link in the thing. If you'd like to buy a cup of coffee, get your name in the credits, please feel free. We're going to talk about Verotika. I promise we're getting there. And if you don't have any cash and you still want to support the channel, please click on some of these ads on my website right here. Click on some of those ads. The pennies go into the AdSense account through Google. Uncle Google will foot the bill for you. All you got to do is come here, click on one of these bad guys, right? And then let's say that you want to get more committed, right? I'm trying to flow through this. Why not buy a t-shirt? Ooh, wait, what? Get that out of here. Look at these t-shirts, man. We've had a few pull the trigger on it already, and we're gonna highlight them right now on the channel. But yeah, man, you can just get it in a variety of shapes and colors and bells and whistles. Look at this hoodie. It's pink. Look at that. It's a bandana. Long sleeve shirts, varieties of colors, as you can see. Get a fanny pack, why don't you? You know, fanny packs are coming into style. I'll tell you, those 95 Misfit guys, they have all those photos. They love wearing fanny packs, right? Look at this. Look at this tank. We had someone bought a tank. They enjoyed it. There's my favorite, that neon that hurts my eyes. So there's that. And then let's say you want something a little bit more darker, more heartier. We got the sour cream shirt. You don't understand what sour cream is? Then what the fuck are you doing here? No, I'm just kidding. It is just a funny inside joke. Listen to November Coming Fire. Listen to the track November's Fire, and you'll understand why it's sour cream. You will get it. Okay. All right, I'm moving on. So we've had a couple people pick some stuff up. One of them was Tim Truckin' Ackerman. So I've also come up with a nickname for Tim, just like Rue is now Rue Morgue, and Russell Patterson is Russell Casualty. Tim is going to be Truckin' Tim. That's his name. And this is Tim's shirt that he bought. Look at how it pops on the black. He went with the black choice. It was very interesting, black on black. I think it looks great. I love the way the white stroke works. So go check out those links. They're on the comments for this thing. Go check them out. Get your shirt today. Get your name in the credits for 1979. Help with the creation of this art. I guess right now this is what I do because I don't have a job at the moment. So trying to spin this into something maybe more than what trying to be more of a content creator. I don't know. Probably not going to work because I have a family and gonna have to wake up soon, burst the bubble, and go back to the grind that way. But okay, getting too personal there. Okay, so there's that. And then here's my man Peter, who's in the chat right now, and I just want to say that this is the coolest fucking photo ever. This is the coolest photo ever. Look at Pete here. Let's minimize me and maximize Peter. Look at Peter here. Look how great he looks. He's got his fucking Bullwinkle tattoo. He's got the pink They Came From Lodi mug. And I love that you chose pink, Peter. It's fucking awesome. So I just want to salute you. Thank you so much for supporting the creation of this content. I love your mug. I love your Samhain shirt. Some comments in here talking about the Samhain shirt that Peter is wearing. So, if you want to be like Peter and drink your coffee, there's the shirt right here. If you want to be like Peter and drink your coffee out of the coolest mug in Lodi, check out that store. The links again are in the comments of this stream video. Yeah, so thank you, Peter. Moving on. Oh, one last thing. There's this guy. All right, great dude. Great fucking photo, Steve. This guy's name is Steve, and I love the way he spells his name, Steev, Steve Schultz. He's in the Facebook group, right? Great picture, really funny. Love this fucking print. Love it. It's fucking gorgeous, gorgeous design. And I should have realized that motherfuck. Oh, Peter says, "Don't tell anyone." Shh, no one's gonna know, Peter. I promise. Otherwise, Glenn will put you in a headlock. And James thinks it's a sick mug. Thank you, James. I'm glad you think that. So Steve is wearing the shirt. This is not my design. This is by a guy named Devilux, whose art I have shared several times. He has his own TeePublic store, and I'm going to highlight it here because I have definitely used Devilux's art to promote my page, I guess, kind of. And so I think it's only fair to highlight something that looks just so beautiful and cool. That's his shirt. It's just fucking, it's gorgeous, man. And just says never forget. Like, you know, I remember Halloween, never forget. It's fucking gorgeous. You can get it in a variety of colors. It's just beautiful, man. I just want to highlight the beautiful art. Yes, I'm sure if Uncle Jerry or Uncle Glenn found out, they would fucking, you know, have a shit fit. That's why my art looks the way that it does. But James, aka Devilux, is a fucking talented motherfucking artist. Look, you can get that shirt for $13 right now. You can get it on a hoodie, man. Look at these hoodies. I wonder if there's a zip up hoodie. I'm gonna need to pick up one of those bad boys. I just love it. I love this design. I just wanted to highlight how great this design was. Okay, enough of that. Oh, and one last thing about Steve. Steve does make, I mean, he says this one thing though that just like makes me like kind of like rolls my eyes and like cringe a little bit, like just a little bit. It's like he says, "I've been a Fitz fan before most of you were born." Just saying. What does that mean, Steve, with your really cool shirt? What do you mean? Huh? Just because you were a fucking Fitz fan before we were born, you ageist? Come on. That's not fair. I can't help it that I was born 2 years after the band broke up. Don't hold that against me. Okay? You know, I'm sure that there are guys that are way younger than you that could probably, you know, nerd circles around you. So I'm just saying. But you're wearing a really cool shirt. I love that pic. I love the way you spell your name. But I just wanted to point that out as well. So neither here nor there. Okay. Now time for the main attraction here. So we're gonna talk about Verotik. Verotika. I have lots of notes. Oh, before we do, it's just like, Jeff, how much fucking preamble? So I just want to highlight that next week on October, what is it? I guess it would be October. Shit. Does anybody know what next week is? October 5th. Yeah, it's October 5th. October 5th, live. We're going to watch Verotika together. Okay. So if you have a Shudder account, open that up. Here's the thing. I'm not going to stream the film. I really want to. I'm not going to do that. That doesn't, that's not cool. As much as I would like to, because it would make the experience better. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to sync up our movie. You're going to sync up the movie and we're going to all watch at the same time. And, you know, there might be a delay issue. There might not. I don't know, but we're going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to be talking about it live as I'm watching it. So it'll be probably look like this. Like I'm going to be here talking with you. I'll be watching the movie. I'll have my headphones on and I'll just be commenting as much as possible. And then what you can do actually is you can use that as the track. So if you want to watch my commentary with the film on Shudder, you can do that too. I don't know if that tickles your pickle, but you know, if you want to hear what I have to say about it, then you can do that. All right, Kenny's going off the chain about what this is. He says the entire movie felt like a pretentious fever dream. I don't disagree. I don't disagree there. Francois, I don't know what you mean by five. Five what, Francois? It's always sunny in Doucheville. Jeff, I don't understand. I don't understand your comment. Is this Marco from Chile who bought a cup of coffee? If so, I tip my hat to you, sir. All right. We've gone through these comments. So that's the deal. So next week, October 5th, tune in here. We're gonna do this live. Robbie wants to talk about Ashley's amazing accent. She gave Pepe Le Pew a run for his money. We're going to talk about Ashley's accent. Yes, thank you. Right. 5th of October, precisely. Right. Thank you. Notice I'm not on OBS because I wanted the interaction for this particular thing. I want the interaction of being able to post the comments so that, we have a little bit more back and forth. I hated reading the comments through IBS, just not as fun. All right, Kenny, you're getting ahead of yourself. We have to do an intro. Feels like the entire casting was achieved with one phone call to Brazzers. Okay, Kenny, just a minute. Kenny, wait. I want to talk. We have to talk before we get to Verotika. We can't get to Verotika without going to Verotik first. So what is Verotik? And I have the Wikipedia page open here, so I'm going to front in a little bit to help me because I don't know the whole history of Verotik. I do know this. I'll go off the top of my head, and then when I need some info, I'll go to the Wikipedia. So Glenn Danzig is always been a huge comic book fan. We all know this. I mean, it's in, he references Prince Namor in the song TV Casualty. Long before he got into music, he was reading comic books. He talks about it in the Pusshead interview. He's going like, I walked into a store with my pocket full of money. And that he's talking about when he first saw Famous Monsters from Film Man, which is not a comic, but, drugstore, paperback reading material that probably was right next to the comics. He was looking for comics when he found Famous Monsters of Filmland, right? So Glenn's always been in, and he always has been going to trade shows and collecting comics. I've heard in my interviews, people have told me about how he needs money, so he instead of going to an ATM or pulling out this or pulling out that, he'd pull out a few choice comics and I guess cash them in as I understood it, as was told to me. Or he just had a huge collection of comics. And then as he started to acquire disposable income, what's disposable income for those of you who are not familiar with the term? It's income. It's where you have so much extra money that you can spend it on things that maybe you might normally not spend it on. And, and you can hear Glenn has been on comic book podcasts, like long form podcasts, talking about being essentially an art dealer. So besides the music, besides everything else, Glenn is an art dealer, a comic book art dealer. And he buys the original panels, the original art itself, and sells that. And he has books and all sorts of jazz. And he has from what it seems, he's so well read that it's almost like he has a encyclopedic knowledge of both the characters, the mythology, and the history of comic book publishing. So there's that, right? That's very interesting. And so Glenn has always been into comics. And shit, I just hit a pothole. What was that? There's something on YouTube where it shows pieces of his collection. There's a YouTube video you get somewhere on there. It's kind of obscure. You got to kind of search for it, but it's Glenn just breaking down God, he's just he's talking about the penciling, and he's just so steeped in the understanding of comicdom. As I understand it, you could see him reading comic books in the Danzig home videos. And as I understand it, Mr. Monster, the band Mr. Monster, gets their name from watching Danzig's home video and seeing Glenn reading the comic book Mr. Monster, along with titles like Wolverine, and the like, Animal Man. So Glenn's not just reading, the bigwig comics. He's reading he's reading all sorts of fucking comics. He's reading a lot of comics. And I mean, when you look at, you look at, besides outside of comics, outside of music, you look at Glenn as a graphic designer. Look at the way he lays things out, for covers, for flyers and everything. Everything has almost a comic book appeal, whether it's done in sort of like a collage, like like, ratter tatter sort of way, or if it's more, hodgepodge. I don't know. But there is a comic book like mentality to the way that Glenn Danzig does layouts as well. And the way that he incorporates pieces of pop culture, almost like a cultural DJ, almost like Quentin Tarantino, but with music and images, that and the sort. Peter says Halloween 7-inch. Sure. There you go. I don't know where those pumpkins come from. Does anybody know where the pumpkins from the Halloween 7-inch come from? I would love to know that. Man, I could do a whole thing on that. In any case, so Glenn is he's really steeped in comics, and eventually he gets to a place financially in life where he invests his own money in his own comic book label. Oh, fucking Tom brings up such a fucking huge point here, man. And heavily influenced by manga. Yes. Glenn is not only into American stuff, but he's super into Japanese stuff. He's super into manga. He's super into like Devilman and Captain Harlock. I don't know if those have manga counterparts. Most Japanese anime has a manga, which a manga is Japanese comic books, has a manga counterpart. I think one of the most famous examples, or one of the most famous crossover examples, is Dragon Ball Z. All of Dragon Ball Z is modeled after the manga that was in Shonen Jump, which is a magazine, has a bunch of comics in it. And the story in the manga, in the Japanese comic, follows exactly what happens in the anime. They kind of bolster, they kind of like expand. That's where my anime knowledge really begins and ends. I really don't follow too much of that stuff, but I definitely grew up enjoying Dragon Ball Z. Eddie says the pumpkins. I thought they came from an old Looney Tunes Daffy Duck cartoon. Eddie, find them. Find those motherfuckers, please. So Glenn is like obsessed with, comics, and has a dream that he wants to, have his own company. He's not satisfied with the types. And, I don't know how much he is into underground comics, because, like American underground comics are its own thing too. You know what I mean? Like it's its own beast, separate from, superheroes, and even like the books from the 50s, which definitely the EC horror comic titles that definitely shaped a young Glenn Danzig, in addition to, superhero stuff. But at some point, Glenn's like, I'm going to start my own label. And he uses his own money to do it. And he calls it Verotik. And he finally gets it up and running in 1994. Here's where I'm switching over to the thing, right? So the startup was originally led by the editor-in-chief, Valerie Jones, who left at the end of 1995, and she was followed by Stephen Wardlaw. The comics are aimed towards adult readers, as they often contain imagery of sexual and or violent nature. Verotik is a fusion created by Glenn Danzig, from the words violent and erotic. Verotik. Yeah, not a big fan of that title. I just don't think I don't know. I feel like Glenn could have done better than that. Since childhood, Glenn Danzig has been an avid comic book collector with frustrated aspirations of being a comic book writer and artist. His fascination with horror is expressed through his music and comic books. So, yeah, that's the other thing too, is that, at some point before or during, or, a little bit before he started doing the Misfits, he's going around. He has like a portfolio. Supposedly he's going around to comic book companies and showing his art, and, and would later take credit for art that maybe was not his, saying that, he never received his portfolio back, and then all of a sudden he saw art in the comics. I think that's bullshit. I do. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think that's bullshit though. Whatever the case, Glenn Danzig was aspiring to be a comic book artist. And eventually, years later, over 14 years later, would open his own company, and that's Verotik. The Verotik title Grub Girl was developed into a pornographic movie in 2006, starring Brittany Sky and Eva Angelina. The movie was directed by Craven Moorhead. Yes, Craven Moorhead. Wow. Who would later go on to direct Danzig's music video for Crawling Across Your Killing Floor. The soundtrack features a remix of the Danzig song Unspeakable. Glenn Danzig is working on a movie adaptation of the Verotik title Ge Rouge, which he will also direct. Yeah, so for years and years and years. So it's funny how like the movie ambition is so separate. So he accomplished essentially. So first he breaks into the world of music and he makes a name for himself. And then in the 90s, at the height of his Danzigdom, he's like, I'm going to break into the world of comics, and tries to do that and does that successfully and does it with a sense of autonomy. I think that was the goal. And if that's the goal, then Glenn Danzig was successful. He remained completely independent in his aspirations and was able to put out a slew of titles. And he's still doing Verotik. Okay. Even if the books are not coming out on a regular, it's not like, I don't think he's doing 12 issues a year, but he's continuing to put out books even to this day. So that really says something. That's a testament to the people that read and collect Verotik. And I could tell you, I know there are some Danzig fans of the music and Misfit fans that have Verotik titles, but I don't think it's synonymous. Like, being a fan of that music does not mean you're going to be a fan of those comics and vice versa. As a matter of fact, this is actually where I get off the Glenn Danzig train. I just never have ever connected with his comic books. They're just not, they just never appealed to me. I'm a comic reader. I read lots and lots of comics. Believe you me, I read tons of comics. But that just never, ever, like, I don't know. It just never, I never connected with them, is what I'm trying to say. Rue Morg says, comic books are the gateway drug to becoming a collector of all sorts of shit. Verotika had some great characters, storylines, and artists. There you go. So Rue is a fan of Verotik. Like I said, never was my personal cup of tea. And I think part of the reason is, Rue, you being a reader of Verotik, would you say that Verotik is very unconventional narrative format, right? Like, it's not your typical comic book arc. The stories mostly are standalone or, one shot, even if it's the same title. I don't know. I'm honestly asking. I don't know. But I'm kind of curious to hear what Rue has to say about that. Tony says the comics are really good. I have them all. There you go. Bought them like crack every month back in the day. Okay, so again, forgive me my ignorance. I don't know. Tony, the comics were coming out every month. I imagine at some point, there's no way that he's been putting out comics every month for the last, 26 years. I just don't think that's possible. I don't think that's true. I don't think they have the capital to have sustained that. I don't think they have the readership to sustain that. I think maybe they started off that way and then eventually have scaled back, but he's never given up on it. He always has done it. And like I said, I don't think Glenn Danzig was looking for mainstream success with Verotik. He's looking for putting out the shit that he wants to put out with complete autonomy to do it, which I think is the theme for tonight's episode, because we're going to talk a lot about that with Verotika, actually. Rue says, absolutely. So to answer my other question. So there you go. That's not my jam. That's personally not my jam. But again, I am not yucking on anyone's yums. Okay. To each his own. And to be honest, I haven't read that much. I really don't know anything about it. Maybe I would like it. I don't know. But I think I'm not alone in saying that most Danzig music fans, that's Misfits, Samhain, Danzig, don't necessarily, subscribe to the Verotik shit either, and Tony confirms, this was back in the early days when they first came out. Yeah, that's what I figured, Tony. Here are some of the titles that Glenn had put out: A Taste of Cherry, Akuma Shi, Albino Spider of Dajet, which is in Verotika. Dekil, The Prophecy, #1. Dark Horror of Morella. She's in. Morella is in. Morella is kind of like she's like the Vampira / Elvira, horror mistress hostess. We have Death Dealer. There's Gerouge, Goth, but spelt G.O.T.H. Grub Girl, Ingret, Inquisitor, Jaguar God. Satanica was turned into an anime, I think. They did an anime pilot. Shin Devilman. So I guess he did his own Devilman. Sunglasses After Dark. Venus Domina. There's actually a title called Verotika. There's Verotic World, and there's Wing Bird. And I guess Glenn has written most of the titles. Some of those titles I read to you, Glenn did not write, but most of those titles are written by Glenn himself. And a lot of the work is done by Simon. What's his name? Simon. He does a lot of Danzig album covers. This is going to bother me. Verotik. Verotik. Simon. What the fuck is that guy's last name? Jesus Christ, this is going to bother me. This is going to bother me. Simon Bisley. Thank you. The Biz. I knew that. I freaking knew that. Rue has them all. Rue Morg is a big fucking Verotik fan. Holy shit. Thank you. Yes, Simon Bisley. The Biz. The Biz. I get it. I told you I'm not well versed. His art is great. As a matter of fact, The Biz actually did a really great crossover of Batman and Lobo. It was a one shot. I have it somewhere on the shelf. And thank you, Tom. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Eddie. Everybody knows who Bisley is except for me. The last name was on the tip of my tongue. His art is fucking great. Bisley's art is great. And if I wasn't so lazy right now, I'd go over to my comic book shelf and see if I could find that Batman Lobo right now. Maybe we will. Let me see if I can get that hooked up. But in the meantime, I'm not going to stop talking. This is where I could really use a producer. Yeah, there it is. That's why I can't see the motherfucking. I'm the motherfucking. You're the hip flipping. Stop sharing the screen. Okay, there we go. Copy the clipboard. So yeah. So all right, I'm not going to do that because we gotta. Yeah, and Rue says he did the lyric books. He did the left hand lyric books. He's a great art. Glenn is obsessed with Bisley's art. He first did a Danzig cover. He did Thrall Demon Sweat Live. That with the Bullwinkle goddess sacrificing someone with the dagger. You've seen it 100 times. Shit, I might as well pull. I mean, this is so stupid for me not to pull up his art. I could do it right here. Such a jabroni. He's English, and his work is he's kind of like a more gruesome version of Frank Frazetta, I think his name is, right? Frank Frazetta. He's more like a brutal version of that guy. Here we go. Might as well share that. So here's the Biz right now. That's his art right there. He did the Danzig 6 album cover. There's Lobo. There's a Lobo right there. As you can see, here's another Lobo. So you see the Lobo, Batman Lobo. Really great one shot. Yeah, here it is. This was fucking excellent reading. Really fun, crazy reading. And here, let's look up Verotik, right? Verotik. Here we go. So here's Verotik illustrated, right? That's definitely a Biz cover right there. Satanica. There's Satanica. There is. Who the fuck is that with Glenn? You know who that looks like? That looks like Paul Stanley from Kiss. Am I crazy? That's the founder of Cleopatra, I think. Here's Morella, right? So he does all this stuff. This is all Glenn. I guess Glenn has written. That's a cool. I love this cover. So then it says Danzig. Yes, so Danzig writes. This is basically like an avenue for Danzig to write and put out comics, and he probably can write off a lot of the, lead losses that he might take from it. Who knows? Who honestly knows? I don't know. But yeah, so he's had this company for years. And so, but to get back to what I was saying, so eventually, at some point in, I guess, I don't know if it was like the 90s or yeah, it might have been the 90s. Well, okay, well, Glenn's movie ambitions first started as early as like, you know, the Misfit days where, you know, they want to put out music videos. They put out a music video in 1983 for Brain Eaters. They tried to do one for Night of the Living Dead, and they were started work on one with Skulls. And if you listen to some interviews with Glenn talks about wanting to do horror cassettes, as he calls them. In his mind, he's going to do basically shot on video horror shorts or horror films of some kind. And this is like the Samhain Glenn. This is not the Danzig Glenn. I guess we have to clarify that, right? You know, so this is Samhain Glenn talking about how he wants to do that sort of stuff. So he probably had it in the back of his mind, but music was always at the forefront of things. And then, of course, Glenn got into, you know, doing the music videos and stuff. Here, Mother Danzig, 1989. It was 89 or 88 they put out that video. 88. Shit. Here you go. So then Danzig's doing the Mother video, right? He directed this video, and this is actually taken from a manga as well. And there's the Mother chick we were talking about the other week. You know, and Glenn's getting into it, man. You know, he's directing this stuff. He's directing this stuff, but like, you know, it's shot really well. It looks really nice, and I would imagine that, you know, Glenn had a more technical team under him. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I was not there. I can't say that I actually know the truth, but based on what we saw in Verotika, I would imagine that Glenn had, you know, a director of photography and some other jazz. He had an editor and stuff, that sort of thing. But Glenn he's getting into directing music videos, right? And he directs the How the Gods Kill music video. He directs a bunch of music videos. And then I think there was like an event that really, and again, all speculating, speculatory. I think there was an event in Glenn's life that was like a watershed moment where he like really like started to think more about like what the next phase of his artistic career was going to be. And that is in the form of Rob Zombie, who, you know, used to be tour support for Danzig. All of a sudden, Rob Zombie is directing movies, first with House of a Thousand Corpses. I think he directed that in 1999, but it didn't get released till 2001. And then he did The Devil's Rejects. And then he did Halloween. And, you know, Rob Zombie is he's a contemporary and, you know, a peer of Danzig, right? Who became just mega big in the metal world, mega big in the alternative world, whatever you want to call it. First with White Zombie, who, like I said, opened for Glenn and Danzig. And then just as Rob Zombie, the solo guy. Another guy I'm not steeped on at all. Do not know anything about Rob Zombie. I saw him do his entire Astro Creep album right before the Misfits went on at Riot Fest Chicago. That's about the extent. So I actually have seen Rob Zombie live, and it was okay. You know, I mean, not really a big fan of his music, to be honest with you. Nothing against the guy. You're going to hate me for what I'm about to say. I've never been sentiment. Maybe this will affect what I'm about to say about Verotik. So, oh my God. I've never been a fan of the original Halloween franchise. As a matter of fact, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, is my favorite Halloween, the one without Michael Myers. So when Rob Zombie came along and remade those movies and sort of like reimagined them using Halloween. I mean, he used the fucking Halloween song. He licensed it from Glenn, which I thought was so fucking cool. That's the Halloween that I prefer. That's the Halloween that I found interesting. I enjoyed it way more. I have a newfound appreciation and respect for the original from 1978 after seeing it on the big screen a few years back. But I got to tell you, man, I think Rob Zombie did a great job with that movie, and I appreciated and liked Halloween. And so I think Glenn is seeing Rob Zombie like basically blow up in the film world. Rob Zombie gets roped in with, Eli Roth, and I think it was Adam Green and a couple other guys as the Splat Pack. You know what I mean? Which was like you had the Brat Pack in the 80s, you had the Frat Pack in the early aughts, and then there was the Splat Pack. Just these funny names, these sort of clever names for filmmakers and actors and whatnot. And so Rob Zombie is crushing it as the Splat Pack, and Glenn, who is well versed in horror movies, as we know, I mean, written many of a song about horror films, is like, probably like, oh man, like I need to get in on this. I need to fucking start making movies too. Like fuck, I better get in on this shit. And and that it's around this time, the early aughts, when we start to hear about how Glenn is going to be directing. He wants to do a movie called Gay Rouge. I don't know if I'm mispronouncing that. Gay Rouge. It's a Louisiana shit. Why am I going to even pretend like I know? Instead, I'm just going to look it up. Let's see if we can find something out about it. Gay Rouge. It's going to be really, really gory. Glenn was working on the script. And when Glenn says he was working on the script, who knows what that really means? And the reason why I bring that up is because after seeing Verotika and what Glenn feels is counts as like a plot or whatever, I don't know, man. I don't know. So this is Gay Rouge right here. It's cool cover. I guess that guy is, I don't know, is that guy like a zombie or something? I don't know who he is. New Orleans voodoo, maybe. So it started as far back as 1997. Here in Gay Rouge, Kulev wants to become the reigning voodoo queen. Join Glenn Danzig and Calvin Irving in this new miniseries of voodoo and mayhem in Gay Rouge. Kelev wants to become the reigning voodoo queen, but that won't happen if Papa John has anything to say in the matter. Oh, so he's more like the Benjamin Samadi character, whoever that guy is. And what is it that Papa John has against Gay Rouge? Find the answers out in this exciting first issue. $4. So that was $4 though in 1997. That's expensive for a comic book, I think. So there's a whole bunch of issues here, right? So Glenn is like, I'm gonna make a movie about this shit. And we had been hearing about this title, Gay Rouge, for some time, not knowing anything about it other than Glenn is like, I'm gonna stop touring. I'm done with touring. And you know what he keeps mentioning when he says I'm done touring? Whenever I'm on the road, I'm away from my projects and things. Hello. Hey, Dad. All right. Well, Dad, I'm in the middle of a broadcast. All right. Can you text it to me? Oh, those things are awesome. All right. I got to go. I love you, Dad. I'll call you. I got to go. I'm broadcasting. Bye. Sorry. It was my dad. He just had surgeries all laid up right now. He's like blowing up my Facebook Messenger right now with shit. It's really annoying. I'll call him when I'm done. So Glenn is like, I'm fucking, he's tired of the touring cycle. He's saying in interviews about how this is my last interview. This is my last tour. This is my last tour. I want to stop touring. He keeps mentioning over and over how he just wish he could, fly out to gigs and do that sort of stuff. And I think maybe in the back, like what else are you doing, Glenn? But what else you got cooking? And maybe he's talking about like, the art dealing he's doing. Maybe it's the comic projects, or perhaps he's trying to write and, get together this movie called Gay Rouge. Tony, this is interesting. Tony Seacrest says most of his comics would just stop and he didn't finish most. Oh, so that's interesting. So I guess Glenn would just, so from what it sounds like Verotik is really just a vehicle for Danzig wanting to be a writer illustrator, and it's just an outlet for Glenn Danzig to be a comic book writer, which is fucking great. And having the autonomy, like he doesn't have to fucking rely on any sort of constraints, which is what he is all about. That is Glenn to the core as an artist. I want to do whatever the fuck I want to do. I want to own it. I want to be in control of it. Nobody can say anything else. So fuck you. I'm Glenn Danzig, that sort of thing. And so I guess Glenn is slowly dialing music back. He's doing retrospectives. He's doing Danzig Legacy. He's doing fewer and fewer shows. He's flying out to gigs. And I think, in the background of all this, besides, recording an album here, or putting a thing together there, Glenn is like going, I'm going to be the next Rob Zombie. I'm going to, direct my movie. All of a sudden we stop hearing about Gay Rouge. It just like completely disappears. And then at some point, Glenn inks a deal with Cleopatra, which is what we saw in that photo. See if I can pull that back up. Glenn inks a distribution deal, or what's it called? Like, I guess like an overall deal. I didn't know that Cleopatra did stuff outside of music, right? So, I'm trying to find the Paul Stanley guy, because it's here. Hold on. Let's see if we can find this motherfucker. See, if I had a Jamie, if I was Joe Rogan and I had a Jamie, I could be like, Jamie, pull that shit up. I don't. But I also don't want to rely on a Jamie either. I'd rather just do it myself. Is this it? Where's that guy? Where is he? Where's the Paul Stanley looking dude? Remember that guy? Remember him? What's this? What did you just send me? I can't click on that, Francois. Unfortunately, I can't click on that. Yeah, we're going back to, where's Paul Stanley? Here we go. So Glenn inks a deal with dude here, right? Ah, shit. That was stupid. Let's see if we can find him. Oh, man. I don't know. Whatever. This is good, actually. Okay. Here you go. Perfect. Glenn Danzig and Cleopatra. So in August of 2018, so after much languishing, right? Glenn is full on doing his his reunions with the Misfits and yada yada yada. Glenn inks a deal with Cleopatra Films, and here's what the press release, or whatever you want to call it, the update is right here. Ready? It says, Glenn Danzig and Cleopatra Films CEO Brian Pereira, he's the guy who's the executive producer on Verotika, sign a film deal for Danzig to write and direct the Verotika anthology film, which will be based on 3 Verotika characters. Danzig will also compose the musical soundtrack for the film. Production is scheduled to begin in fall of 2018. It turned out to be an excellent 30th anniversary for Danzig. So there you go. And then we start to here's the first screenshots that we get, right? So these are the 3 shorts. This is the one about the pulling the face off. This one right here is about the spider, the rapey spider guy, that only comes to life when the girl sleeps. This is actually Ashley. This is Glenn's current forever love. She is from the porn world, actually. And this last one is about the Contessa, and she is based on Elizabeth Bathory. The middle story, which is the top frame here, is actually very similar to a French film. I guess you can call it an early the proto to the new French extremity that would come in the 2000s. It's called Eyes Without a Face. It's a fucking beautiful black and white film, 1959, about this doctor that, removes people's faces in hopes of grafting them onto his daughter's face. She's been in a horrific car accident. It's a pretty grisly film for 1959. It shows someone's face being pulled off. In 1959, you didn't do things like this. So the fact, think about that. This is 1959, 1955. You have the comics code. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Francois, what is this though? I can't click on the link. I'm sorry, buddy. It just doesn't let me. It doesn't let me click on the link. Let me see if this will let me go to the link. No, it won't let me. I'm sorry. I can't access that right now, but I appreciate you putting that out there. Whatever it is, I'll click on it later. So that's what that story is kind of based on. And yeah, Elizabeth Bathory. And I don't know if what the spider is based on. I really don't. I suppose we should really launch into this. We're already an hour into this episode because of my gift of gab, trying to see if there's any other Verotika news. So then they did the premiere. So they premiere the film in Chicago, at the Cinepocalypse in Chicago at the Music Box. And then they did an LA premiere, right? Let me see. There's Cinepocalypse. Did they mention that at all? Here, sneak peek. No, they don't mention it. I don't know. But Cinepocalypse had here you go. Is this it? No. But he's starting to play it around different cities eventually. But originally it appeared at Cinepocalypse. And Glenn Danzig gets up and he warns the fucking crowd. He's like, yo, just want to let you know, this is super fucking violent. And yada, 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 and is not fucking prepared for the reaction to Verotika. It is not fucking anything he anticipated. Everybody's fucking laughing. The press comes out and they're like, is Verotika secretly the horror version of The Room? Let me see if I can find that article. Verotika horror room. Let's see what pops up for that. Yeah, this is what made the rounds, right? Glenn Danzig's Verotika is the horror equivalent of The Room. And from what I understand from people who were there, I was not there, but for people who were there, I guess Glenn was pretty taken aback, right? The Misfits are a great band, but Danzig is a great band. Glenn Danzig is a huge musical talent and an icon in the punk and metal scenes. Based on his directorial debut, Verotika, I'm not so sure those talents translate to filmmaking. It's fitting that the record label he started way back in the day was called Plan 9 Records, because there are a number of moments in Verotika that recall the filmmaking style of Plan 9 from Outer Space director Ed Wood. I'm not sure the tribute is intentional, and I think that's accurate. Verotika, which just made its world premiere at the opening night of Chicago's Cinepocalypse Festival, is a horror anthology with its origins in the pages of Danzig's own Verotik comic book, hosted by a woman named Morella. So Morella, like I said, she's like the vampire of it all, right? There are 3 stories contained within the film, which Danzig described as his tribute to anthologies he loves, like Trilogy of Terror and Mario Bava's Black Sabbath. So that's important, the fact that he brings up Mario Bava's Black Sabbath, because for anybody who knows anything about European 70s horror films, like a lot of the lighting, a lot of the stuff going on mirrors that aesthetic. You know what? That's a more complicated explanation. I'm going to explain that. The point is that I think that Glenn Danzig was not ready for people to not know what the fuck he was trying to do. That's what I honestly think. He just didn't get that. He thought that people would just be able to read his mind with what he was attempting to do. The first segment, set in Paris, meaning every actor speaks in a totally different but equally cartoonish French accent, tells the story of a woman with eyeballs for nipples, which is never explained at all, who conjures a giant murderous albino man spider every time she falls asleep. In the second story, a disfigured dancer collects other women's faces. In the third and final segment is a take on the Elizabeth Bathory legend about a countess who bathes in the blood of virgins in order to remain useful. The stories themselves are not the problem in Verotika, though calling them stories seems to be a bit generous. Each one presents a premise. So embarrassing. And then simply repeats that idea 4 or 5 times before coming to a conclusion. So the stories are not fleshed out at all. Okay. All right. I guess we can really fucking launch into this. So I have notes. I took notes while I was watching. I watched this film by myself late at night. Okay. I don't, as soon as it came out on Shudder, I watched this. Robbie says, hold on. The thing is, though, I saw it twice. Glenn talked after both and seemed to be having fun with it without spoiling for anyone. He even laughed when he talked about the nips. I don't think people that wrote that article understand Glenn's mood. I think, Robbie, I think that Glenn came around to realizing that he made something that he didn't intend to make. From my understanding from friends who were there that were in that audience, this movie was supposed to have an incredibly serious tone. And I think Glenn realized, oh, I made something like Plan 9 and totally fucking like warmed up to that idea afterwards. I don't think he really had a choice, especially when you have investors on the line and stuff. I don't know. Beware the neck breaker. So we'll go through my notes, but before we do, yeah, exactly. He made a great comedy without knowing it. I think, first of all, I want to say a couple of things before we launch into this. Okay. Before I launch into my thoughts on everything. One, we all love Glenn. We all love his music and his art, and do not want to be misconstruing this as like trying to bring him down or take him down a notch in any way. We always express our love for Uncle Glenn and his work and pour over it with such care and detail, even the goofier aspects or the silly parts. So I think that needs to be remembered as we talk honestly about, what this is. That's number one. Number two, I'm a filmmaker myself. I too have made a feature-length film. I have. It's called Romeo's Distress. Is it a good movie? I'm not here to say that. It's a movie. I made a movie. Okay. I've done some documentaries as well too. And some live music concert films and a ton of short films. Point is, I am primarily a filmmaker. That is what I am. That is what I do. That is my artistic. That's what I do. That's where I try to pour my art into, whatever you want to call it. Francois says my movie is great. I really appreciate that. That's a very kind compliment. We did win some awards, which validated the work, which was nice. My point is that, and you'll notice for those who have seen me post about movies in general, I do not talk. I used to a lot back in the day. I used to fucking always like talk, be like, this sucks, that sucks. I stopped. Once I started to make art myself, I completely changed my tune. And the reason why is because I understand the process and I understand what it is to will something into existence. And it is really fucking hard to create art. Really, really fucking hard. It's hard to even make a movie is an accomplishment of itself, even if it's the worst fucking movie ever made. Even making Plan 9 from Outer Space was a fucking onslaught. It was a massive undertaking, and it took a lot of fucking work to make it for however bad you think it is. Watch the movie Ed Wood, Tim Burton. That dude was constantly just trying to fucking get shit made. It is really fucking difficult. Okay. And so I realized like a long time ago, as I started to make movies, like, I think there's nothing worse than just tearing down other people's art. I think it's just fucking terrible. If something sucks, and things do suck, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that all art doesn't suck. I'm just saying that in a public forum, there is a particular candor that needs to be adopted when talking about art, other people's art, other people who you admire's art. You know what I mean? There's just like there's a certain, way that should be, there's a certain etiquette that I try to uphold myself to. And it's not easy. And, I think there's a huge difference between shitting on something and saying it sucks and not explaining why, and actually critically, analyzing something and taking a look at what it is and where it's lacking and why it's lacking and understanding where it comes from. And that is the approach I want to take with Glenn Danzig's Verotika. I don't want to just say it sucks. Is it a good movie? It's not a good movie. At least not by the standards that I guess you might judge a good movie. Is it successful? I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, people seem to like vet it to have some kind of cult status, or that it will have some kind of cult status in the years moving forward. You know what I mean? And so on that level, I guess maybe you could say it is success. It's like, what is success? What is the success you're looking for? As we spoke about earlier, Glenn Danzig's success for comic book stuff was to be completely autonomous and to put out his stuff and to have an outlet for his writing and have a dedicated fan base. And in those goals, he succeeded, right? So that's fucking success. He did the same thing with his music on a much, 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 much larger scale. Are you looking for critical, acclaim? Are you looking to make money? Are you looking to make a movie that you would be proud of? These are all goals that I think a filmmaker aspires to. I want to make a movie for this kind of audience. I want to make a movie for an audience that would be just me. Like what I want to make something that I would want to see, or perhaps, and then here's the other thing too. And this is the main thing to consider with everything we're going to say. This is going to come up over and over and over again. So we might as well just get it out of the way now. It's actually something that Quentin Tarantino has said in the past, and I fucking love it because I relate to it so much. And I think it's so true. And I think it applies to anyone who is making art, who is influenced by other stuff. Ready for this? Here, let's exit that out. Okay. Whoa, that was cool. See what I did there? But I did it the wrong way. Oh no, it didn't work. Shit. Yeah, whatever. Sorry. So you have these two things, right? You have taste. What is taste? Taste is the shit I'm into. Taste is the shit that Glenn Danzig's into. Taste is the shit that you are into. Whatever you're into is your taste. You can have really good taste. You could have really bad taste. Everybody's taste is like, it's a perception, right? Like, I'm really into some, when I'm 15, we were talking about trauma. Peter was mentioning trauma movies earlier. Fucking loved trauma movies when I was 15. That was my taste. My tastes have changed. I don't think trauma is that fucking great today, but it always has a soft place in my heart because of where I came from. My formative years were spent, watching Toxic Avenger, crush melons on the TV. So you have taste, right? And that's one thing. And you can have really good taste, which means you could be into really good shit, right? Or taste could also be like, I'm into this band. I feel like that's a lot more subjective than, say, movies, because movies are usually judged by, this is really good and this is really bad, and that's it. It's like a very black and white thing. But music is not so black and white. Music is very subjective. Oh, you could be into this music, you can be into that music, you could be into whatever sort of music that you want to be in. The Dave Matthews Band fan is valid because that's the music that they're fucking into. Everybody else can think Dave Matthews sucks, but that's what that dude fucking loves. I love fucking, Danzig, Samhain, Misfits. I love punk rock. I love fucking reggae. I love, a wide eclectic net of music, right? That's all the stuff that, I'm into, whatever you like is valid in the realm of music. Movies is a little bit different. You could be into B movies or horror movies or Z grade movies or schlocky movies or, Criterion movies or, Oscar movies. And people are going to look at you and be like, oh, he has really good taste in movies, or oh, he has really shitty taste in movies, that sort of thing, right? So you have your taste, right? You have your taste on one side, and then you have your ability on the other side. So here's the thing. So just because you say you're going to be the greatest musician and you listen to fucking really great guitar players, you listen to like Jimi Hendrix, you listen to fucking Jimmy Page, you listen to John Christ, you listen to all these famous fucking, you listen to Joe Satriani, you listen to Joey Santiago, you listen to just like, the creme de la creme of, you listen to fucking Brian May, you listen to whoever. And you're like, this is the music that I really love. And then you're like, and then you try to play, right? And maybe your ability sucks. Maybe you're not very good. Maybe you're not well versed in your instrument, whatever the case. Or maybe you start writing songs and they don't sound anything like the stuff that you listen to. So you have taste and you have ability. And when all an artist is ever trying to do, I think in general, I know for me personally, all I'm ever trying to do is I'm trying to close the gap between my taste and my ability. I'm trying to bring it together, and that's what it's all about. That's the creation of the art that comes out of me. Every person is going to, express art differently. It's like, think of me as a filter. When you put these ingredients through me, you're going to get a specific type of thing. Then let's say you take another person that's not me and you put those same ingredients through that person, they're going to turn out something that may have stuff in common with what I turned out, but it's going to be different because it went through a different prism. You know what I mean? A different sort of filter. And so those are the two things. One is trying to close the gap between what I'm able to do and the taste that I have. And the other thing is taking the things that I really love, my taste, and trying to squeeze it through myself as a filter and my ability and churn something out that is either the same as my taste or something that is indicative of my taste. And this is where chemistry comes into play. And you're like, what chemistry? Why are we talking about chemistry? Because that's what happens with chemical process. If you want to break it down from a scientific perspective, right? When you fucking mix this thing and this thing together, you get something completely fucking different. Or you get this thing and you switch a molecule here and a molecule there, and suddenly it's a different thing. Did you know that gold and lead are exactly identical on a molecular level, except for one fucking atom? If you switch one atom in lead, it becomes gold. And that's what all those dudes back in the day were trying to do. All the fucking Leonardo da Vinci, you ever see the movie Hudson Hawk? All those fucking guys, they're trying to do. They're trying to turn lead into gold. That's what alchemy is, right? So if you think about alchemy, now connect alchemy to art. And that's what it is. It's me taking my taste and trying to use my ability to turn something into something else, right? That's what it is. And most of the time, that doesn't work. That fails miserably. Let's look at some examples in music. Great example, the Ramones. The Ramones were trying to write songs like 60s girl groups and the Beach Boys. Look at a song like Sheena is a Punk Rocker, right? Look at a song like Teenage Lobotomy. Let's look at Sheena is a Punk Rocker. I think that's the very most basic example. You look at Sheena is a Punk Rocker, and it's literally like it has the same structure as a Beach Boys song, but doesn't sound anything like the fucking Beach Boys. It sounds like the Ramones, because the Ramones are taking this, putting it through their filter, their computer, and it comes out as Ramones music, right? So now let's apply this so this works with filmmakers too. Filmmakers are influenced by this, and this. I was influenced by a bunch of shit, and I was trying to turn out something that sort of was indicative of those things, but I was only able to do so with the level of ability that I possessed, right? Good or bad, it was whatever I was able to do with my ability. And ability, by extension, is also like resources, money, that sort of thing. So now look at someone like Glenn Danzig, right? So Glenn Danzig is like influenced by all this shit. And I have a list right here. Actually, maybe we should look at that list. Like, Jeff, where were you going with that tangent? This is where I was going. So right off the bat, like there's stuff from the movie, the Italian sequel to Dawn of the Dead, Zombie, aka Zombie 2. The opening scene is literally that's literally a ripoff of that. Like she shoves her nails, the profile thing of the eyes. Let me see if I can fucking find this shit. Why am I talking about it? Zombie I spooled. Pull this up here. I'm not going to show the clip because I don't want copyright. Yeah. So right here, right off the bat. So there you go. There's your. It's going to pull up. Oh no. Well, there's the shark. Hold on. Oh man, here it is. There's your zombie. So as you can see here, it's not as big as I would have liked it to be. As you can see, this is very similar to what Glenn does in the opening segment with Morella, right? You know, she takes her two fingers and brings them closer just like that, you know, gouges out the girl's eyes. And then you have stuff like eyes without a face. This is eyes without a face. That's what I was talking about. And that is very similar to the second story. Let me see if we can find the cutting face. Let's see what happens. That comes up. No, they don't show it. Basically, this girl gets her face like suction cupped off. It's really fucking gory for 1959. The point is, Glenn is taking these things that he fucking, you know, that he likes, that he loves, and he's trying to incorporate them in his own creation. A lot of things. These are all the things that I saw in Verotika. Let me pull up some stills actually to make this a little bit better. Again, this so here we have a still. I mean, look at this. Oh no, that's not what we wanted to see. Oh, come on. So, I mean, look at this image, man. I mean, it's a pretty cool fucking image, you know? And if you notice here, notice how this right here is in focus and this right here is in focus, and see how this is blurry? So this is what's known as a split diopter shot. And it was something that that Brian De Palma is very famous for. If you're a fan of Brian De Palma, you look at any fucking movie, and all of his movies have split diopter shots where both a foreground subject and a background subject remain in focus. And what you do is you shoot, essentially what you're doing is you're shooting two separate shots, like you're shooting a shot here and a shot over here, and then you marry the two shots together. And in order to do it, you get this blurry line. So really, in her shot on this side, albino Spider Dude is completely out of focus. And when he did the other shot, Ashley, the lead in this with the fake French accent that makes Pepe Le Pew give a run for her money, is also out of focus, right? And then what the shot is composited together. You can literally do it in any editing software. You overlay the two layers, and then you crop one side and you crop the other side, and then you feather the middle, and that's where you're seeing the feather in the middle. And that's literally how they did this shot. It takes like okay, so Tony Seacrest, and this is what I was going to get to. He says he was heavily influenced by Euro sleaze. Said the crazier the movies, the better. And that's what I have listed right here, actually. I have, if you could see it, it says Giallo, European influences. he holds on a lot of shots in his work. There's a lot of places where he's like holding for a really long time. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's like, what the fuck is he doing? Why is he holding on the shot? And Glenn is what he's trying to do is he's trying to mimic this aesthetic from the 70s, man, essentially, or one of the aesthetics where it's like you kind of would hold on a shot, for quite some time. Except here's the thing. He's doing all of this through like the aesthetic, like the feel. It feels like a Cinemax movie. It feels like a Skinemax movie. Like the softcore porn that they used to have late at night and Cinemax. That's what everything feels like. And when we do the commentary, I'll really fucking get into that. You'll really see there are certain things on the set that really feel like that actually reminded me a lot of The Room. So he holds on he holds on shots like that. He also there's a lot of grindhouse zooming. You know what I mean? Like, you notice how there are all these crazy zooms. A lot of grindhouse films from the 70s would do these like crazy zoom shots. You start in a wide master and you'd zoom in really close on the person's face. And so here's my theory as to what I think was going on. I think the last thing Glenn was thinking about was story. I think everything he was thinking only about aesthetics. He was thinking only about production design. Everything, story and character, completely non-existent. Glenn just would get Glenn thought of cool ideas. He had a lot of good taste, or he had a lot of taste from the things that he really loved, and then he tried to use his ability to fucking bring forth what he thought a movie should be. Right? He's like, this is what a movie. This is all you need to make a movie. All right. So here are some of my thoughts of what I said. The Glenn Danzig Verotika movie felt like. Well, before I get there, let me just finish saying one more thing. My point is that Glenn takes a lot of these aesthetic influences that are his taste. I like the 70s grindhouse zoom. I like lingering on shots for a long time. I like split diopter shots like Brian De Palma. I love giallo films. I love European sleaze. I love movies like Eyes Without a Face and Zombie. I like all this stuff. I'm going to basically put it all in a pot and do it myself. But Glenn is not, in the same way that Glenn needs John Christ as a guitar player. Glenn writes all the melodies, but Glenn needs a technical guy like John Christ to fucking execute the guitar work, right? And here, Glenn, wanting the autonomy, wanting to be an auteur, because that's the thing, the other main takeaway. The reason why this movie is what it is because Glenn Danzig decided that he wanted to be an auteur. What's an auteur? Let's actually look up the textbook definition of what an auteur is, just so I'm saying it exactly correct. Auteur. So here's the definition of auteur. A filmmaker whose personal influence and artistic control over a movie are so great that the filmmaker is regarded as the author of the movie. And that is exactly what Glenn Danzig was trying to do, right? It's exactly what he was trying to do. His personal influence, he took all those things I was just talking about, and he had full artistic control. Not only was he the director, writer, producer, executive producer, but he's also doing the camera work. He wanted to feel like the personal author of the film. However, the problem is ego. That's what it is. The problem is ego. And I know because I've experienced it myself when making films. You want to do it all. I know exactly what I want in my head. Nobody else, I can't telegraph this to anybody else in the right way. And the only way that it's going to get done is if I do it myself. And this attitude is what can destroy a film and a filmmaker. And I've experienced a little bit of it myself. I've seen it in a lot of other filmmakers, and I definitely saw it in Glenn Danzig, which is very indicative of Glenn Danzig's style. So the point of all this is I understand what Glenn was trying to do with Verotika. I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm saying I understand what the fuck he was trying to do. That's what I'm saying. Like, I saw it. I saw the fucking cinematic influences in the DNA of Verotika, and it just is not executed well. That's what I meant. Here's his taste and here's his ability. He's trying to bridge the gap. He's trying to make his taste come off in his ability, and he can't do it. That was the point of that whole analogy. He can't bridge the gap, and so it turns into something else. Now, in the case of The Room, which is mentioned when talking about Verotika, The Room is a situation, and this applies to Glenn Danzig. This is like the main criteria for how you get something like The Room or Plan 9, where you have a filmmaker or an artist who is so serious with what they are doing. There's no humor. Everything is intended sincerely and with incredible seriousness and with a serious tone. And the byproduct of that is comedy and humor. Because when you can't bend in the breeze, you hear that thing about how like the tree that can bend in the wind will survive, but the tree that's too rigid will break in half. And that's the problem. Glenn is a very fucking rigid guy. I can say that as someone who doesn't know Glenn Danzig out of a star in the sky. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know him. I don't know the man at all. I've met him 2 times. My point is that, watching the way that he works in the public eye, he's a rigid fucking dude who does rigid fucking shit all the time. He did it all the time with his music. And now here he is trying to pull that shit in the film world. And it just does not work the same. Why? Because generally, unlike music, like, you could be the sole guy that does everything in a musical project. You could play the drums, you could play the bass, you could play the guitar, and you can be the singer. There are some filmmakers, like myself, there are some filmmakers who try to apply this to filmmaking, and movies can come out incredibly butchered and flawed as a result. Filmmaking, for the most part, is a collaborative process. You need a team of people who each have a valuable niche skill set. You can be a jack of all trades. I try to make myself as a jack of all trades. That's what I do. I try to know a little bit about everything so that I can be a part of every part of the process, so that I can guide my vision. That's how I try to be an auteur, but not really. You know what I mean? Like, just trying to be like an author, personalized author of work, when I have people to work with. I don't always. And so I end up doing everything myself. And it takes me a million years to fucking get anything done. My film, Romeo's Distress, that feature-length film, it took me a year and a half to do, because I did mostly everything by myself. And I think that film suffers. My movie suffers greatly as a result. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely flawed because I did everything myself. There were some jobs that should have been done by people who were way more qualified to do them. The difference between me and Glenn Danzig is Glenn Danzig has fucking $1 million. That's what I understand the budget of this movie was. I made my film for $2,553, right? So, like, that's the difference. And it's like Glenn and his ego and his need to be the auteur fuck up the movie because he has to fucking have his hands in everything. And I could just imagine what it was like to fucking, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in that set. If you watch that Shudder episode with Glenn Danzig, where you see him shooting that opening segment and you see him taking the shoulder rig off, it felt very manufactured. But the whole point was that he had to be like, I'm Glenn Danzig. I'm a filmmaker too. I've directed all these music videos. And he thought maybe that music video experience is going to allow him to direct this fucking feature-length film. And it's a completely different beast. And it's fucking prevalent because there's no story. There's no story and there's no characters. Shit happens. I guess you can kind of call it a plot. And it's just like, I mean, the shit is like fucking ridiculous, man. Francois says, from where I come from, we call them the all singing, all dancing artists. So yeah, so there you go. That's a great way to put it. And there are some people that can be the all singing, all dancing artists. There are some outliers that are just that fire on so many cylinders, both film wise and in music and in anything, whatever else is involved, that they can fucking really pull that shit off really well and make really crazy, interesting shit. But for the most part, at least in the film stuff, it's going to suffer if it's just you. My stuff suffers a lot of the time because of me. My new project that I want to do, which I will talk about in the future, narrative project, will not hopefully that will not be the case. But let's get into these notes because it's fucking late. Okay. I don't have a ton of notes. We'll just go through them. And then, like I said, we'll probably repeat some of this stuff with the commentary. I'm really excited to do the commentary more than anything. And then what we're going to do after the commentary, we're going to have a round table symposium. We're going to discuss the film. And it's going to be the first time that I have people on as guests. That's when we're really going to do it. I'm going to invite people on. We're going to talk about fucking Verotika. Okay, so here are my notes with fucking Verotika. Ready? First note. Lyrics come to life from GD song. So that was so basically what I'm saying here is that I'm watching the Spider movie. And by the way, the credits look so bad. The fucking CGI, he's kind of doing the thing. He's doing the thing credits, but he's not doing it the way that he did the Danzig credits in the Danzig home video. And so it looks really fucking bad. I mean, really, really, really bad. It's not well done. It's not well executed with CGI. It probably was running out of money. Because here's the thing when you're making a movie too. You have a golden triangle of productivity, right? This really extends to fucking anything in life. If you're an artist, there's good, bad, and cheap. And if you don't have money, then you can only have 2 out of the 3 things. You can have something good and cheap, but it's not going to be fast. You can have something fast and good, but it's not going to be cheap. You can have something fast and cheap, but it's not going to be good. You know what I'm saying? You can never have all 3 unless you have fucking money or unless you find a happy accident on the film set. A great example of this is in Return of the Living Dead when they make the little butterfly wings move. You know, that was good, fast, and cheap. That's all 3 boxes were ticked. All they had to do was just, they had a fan right outside of the frame of the camera and they turned the fan on and they cut out some paper butterflies and stuck them to the thing. And while Freddie and Frank are freaking out in the background, for any of you who've seen Return of the Living Dead, you see these little butterflies start to come to life. And it's just an ingenious little trick that cost them no money, that was super fast to do and was really, really good. That in that scenario, sometimes you have a miracle. In any case, yeah, I'm watching this opening short about the albino Spider Man and Ashley, his girl, and everybody has a French accent, and the French accents truly are terrible. I mean, just really fucking bad. And it just felt like, you know what it felt like, honestly? Again, this does not come from a place of insulting at all. It's just what it was. It almost felt like a child trying to draw like a picture in a photographic way and scribbling something on crayon. That's what it felt like to me, I guess. You know what I mean? Just in the way that people were talking. I don't know. It was like an idea of what he thought how people should talk. I don't know. In any case, it felt like lyrics coming to life from a Glenn Danzig song. I guess I'm referring to when, like, you know, she takes off her fucking dress and she has eyeballs for nipples. Like, could you just imagine a fucking Danzig song where he's like, big titties with eyeballs inside the nipples. I see everything through my boobies. You know, like it just felt like a Glenn Danzig song, you know. White spider crawling up a vase, looking through my nipple titties. You know, just like in the way that Glenn Danzig writes a song called like Skull Forest. Just like, that's just what I felt like. That's what it felt like when I was watching it. Spider-Woman. Oh, here's what I said. Okay, so here's another film that I noticed when I was watching this thing, and it's actually in this shot as well. This split diopter shot. The spider, the relationship between the albino spider and the woman, what's her name? Gillette or something? Darjet, whatever, Drajet, whatever her fucking name is. Very much reminded me of the dining room scenes from Les Belles et les Bêtes, which is a 1946 French film that was made by Jean Cocteau, and basically scenes of Beauty and the Beast as Belle, the beauty, is sitting at the table and the beast is behind her. And the way that they're doing this exchange actually reminded me of that. And I just think I don't know if Glenn Danzig intended that, but if he did, it was actually a pretty fucking cool homage. And nobody could fucking see it because you're focused on how bad the fucking movie looks. I mean, it looks like a fucking, as we said, it looks like, as a lot of people said online, it looks like porno without the fucking porn. There's no porn in it. It feels like a cheap porn. I wrote influenced by Ed Wood, obviously. I wrote milk or beer ? I don't know why I put that there. I don't remember what that must have been in regards to something. When we do the commentary, I'll probably remember what that is. I wrote this. It's a peek into Glenn Danzig's mind, watching the way that these characters interact. This is Glenn Danzig kind of like playing. Wait, what? What? That was a good catch, Jeff. He did say that about Beauty and the Beast at the fuck yeah, I knew what I was talking about. How about that, huh? Wow. Yeah, I knew it, man, because I just watched it. I just watched La Belle et la Bête. It's a beautiful, beautiful black and white film from the 40s, post World War II French film. So, I mean, you can say what you want about Glenn Danzig. So this is not all like, ripping on Glenn Danzig. Like, clearly there's some fucking artistic merit behind the shit that he's doing. And, that's what he's referring to with Beauty and the Beast. There's a whole scene. If you go to my Instagram, Belle, yes, Belle, you are so pretty. They were speaking in French, but this is how the beast sounded. Belle. Let me see if I can find it here, actually, on my Instagram, because I literally was just watching this. And sometimes what I do is I will shoot things that I see on. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. So I don't know if you can see that. So that's kind of, that's kind of what like he was going for with that, that is what that was, man. It's an homage to fucking Beauty and the Beast. This is great. You can't hear it. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't know why I'm showing you that. Point is that it was definitely there. Yada yada yada. Yuck yuck yuck. 1, 2, 3. So this is like a peek into Glenn Danzig's mind. These 3 stories. Honestly, that's what I thought when I was watching this. I mean, yes, they're based on his comic book characters, but ultimately there's like a tiny peek into like this is Glenn Danzig trying to tell stories. You know what I mean? Glenn Danzig is a fucking musician who is trying to. This is his way of telling stories. Again, taste, and ability, right? This is Glenn Danzig's taste, and this is his ability to execute the taste, in his own kind of way. I wrote, Glenn needs filmmakers the same way that he needs musicians, which we already touched on. Glenn needs more talented people in these specific films. He can't just like pick up a camera and shoot it himself. He needs someone who's a fucking cinematographer, man. Yeah. That's what it automatically is. I wrote, he should have done all the music. I don't know what fucking idea or whose idea it was to have some of the music in this film. Here's what I think happened. Speculation. Ready? Glenn inks a contract with Cleopatra Music, Cleopatra Films, and they're also a record label, kind of like a goth record label. And I wonder if one of the stipulations was Glenn was going to score some of the stuff himself, but I wonder if the bands, those other bands that are on the soundtrack and in the movie, I wonder if those are Cleopatra artists. And in order to get some cross promotion, it was per contract that he would have to use some of that music in the movie. I don't know how Glenn, but here's at the same time, I don't know how Glenn would agree to something like that. I feel like, you get the fuck out of here. I'm only using my music. But I can't imagine Glenn picking out that music. So if anybody has any light on that, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I actually like the scoring that he did, just the instrumental, it's known as incidental music, or music, the music cues that Glenn comes up with in this movie are fucking great. They're really great. One of the songs, I guess, was from Black Lady Crown, and I'm not a big fan of Black Lady Crown, but the incidental music was well done. I said here, should have done all the music. So I write here, Spider Dick ? Wants to fuck in the ass. So at one point, right. So at one point, this albino Spider-Man, as you can see in the background of this photo, he doesn't have a dick. He has no balls. He has no dick. He has no shaft. He has no sex organs, but he's telling Ashley here, who he's somehow connected to, and they never explain that. He starts off as a spider. Her fucking eyeball tits cry. The tears land on the spider and cause him to grow into a Spider-Man. Cause him to grow into an albino Spider-Man that murders people. And then he proclaims, with no dick, that he wants to fuck. He wants to fuck in the ass. So he's holding a girl, like one of the many girls that he holds. And by the way, apparently everybody that's in this film is a fucking porn stars. They're all porn stars. All of them have a history of doing pornography. Nothing wrong with that in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying that they all come from the porn world. He did not cast anybody who's like, everybody does porn, basically. And they all kind of look like porn stars in one way or another. So this dickless white spider man wants to fuck in the ass while he holds this girl by the neck, but doesn't have a dick to do it. And that left me puzzled. So I wrote, Spider Dick wants to fuck in the ass. Rue Morgue says the score has got the Black Aria ambiance. Yeah, a little bit. I agree with that. A little bit. I wrote down Le Neck Breaker. Oh, that's what the reference was up here about. I guess I wrote that down too. Le Neck Breaker. I don't know why. I guess that was something that somebody says that in the movie. I thought that was funny. So here's me talking about the Grindhouse style, right? The Grindhouse style zooms are the 70s. That's what he's doing. He's doing Grindhouse 70 zooms, and I don't have an example for you. I'm not going to search for it now on YouTube, but there's plenty. You've seen plenty of fucking Grindhouse 70 films where they start in a wide and they zoom in inward and hit their mark. And then that's why you have handheld shots. That's why you have soft focus. So if you notice, there are some shots that are going out of focus, and you might say, so here's the thing. This brings me back to the whole thing about, like, again, taste and ability. I said that was going to be the theme. So here people are going, what the fuck? This is in soft focus. I think a lot of the soft focus was not intentional. I think Glenn was holding the camera. I think anytime that Glenn, that there's soft focus on seen on the screen. What is soft focus? Soft focus is where you're in focus. My film, Romeo's Distress, because I shot it myself, and I had never shot a feature-length film before. My film has several shots that are in soft focus. I'm guilty of this myself. It's very easy if you don't have there are certain tools that you can use to combat this, especially digitally. There are you can rack focus, or you can have a focus, but it's soft. It's slightly out of focus. It's ever so slightly out of focus. In the same way that you might have some audio latency if you are recording music and there's like a slight echo or delay because you didn't play quite to the click track and there's like a slight delay. And any musician with a musician's ear is going to go, oh, you got some latency. That's how I would plug in soft focus. So you see a lot of soft focus. This is something else that was That was definitely part of the grindhouse aesthetic. However, I don't think Glenn Danzig meant to do. He wasn't intending that. That was accidental. That was due to lack of ability. Here's something I wrote down. Ashley, his girlfriend, she climbs the stairs in 5 fucking shots. It takes her 5 different shots to climb the stairs. Over coverage for simple shots. So you could get that, like, especially from from the top looking down, from the top of the staircase looking down, you can get that shot with one static take, or like one take. Just have her fucking coming up the stairs. However, Glenn, thinking like in his own artistic way, this reeked of me, of novice, of amateur, thinking that he needed to get coverage of her going up the stairs in 5 different ways and having 5 different takes and needing to incorporate all of them in the shot because he thought all of them look good. I know this because I've definitely been there, and I've seen a lot of other filmmakers who have been there, where you're attached to all of your material and feel the need to, and this is where an editor really comes in handy, because an editor would just go, Glenn, you just need one fucking take from one angle. Pick an angle that you like, and let's just leave it like that. Because it's so jarring to the eye to watch Ashley walk up the stairs and it cuts to 5 different fucking places of coverage. I mean, could you think about how many fucking, how much time was wasted shooting her going up the stairs 5 different times? I don't know. Robbie asked, what do I think of the coloring in the first story? I mean, the color palette's interesting. This shot, like, look at the static shot right here that I have up. I'm glad this shot has served so many different purposes. I guess we could go to some other shots too. I think this shot really is really pretty. I mean, look at this shot too. I mean, Glenn clearly has some idea about color, especially if he was one of the directors of cinematography. I'm sure it was Glenn's decision to do. He wanted this turquoise light. He wanted a yellow background. He wanted pink hair. And this really speaks to his sensibilities as a graphic designer when he was doing all those Misfits records, right? Like, clearly there's some fucking sort of, and that's the thing. And that's why this film is as bad as it is because Glenn is so focused on the aesthetics and production design and the colors. He's not thinking about the story. And what's the thing that you need more than anything else when you're making a movie? That's not avant-garde. This is not an avant-garde film. This is meant to be a narrative anthology feature, even though you could play it off as slightly avant-garde, right? Like, so a narrative feature needs story. Story is the single most important fucking thing. Even if it's a loose fucking story, you got to have a story. What Glenn has here is plot. It's more fucking plot. That's what it is. It's like, it's a lot of, it's just, she does this. She walks in here. She opens up the fridge. Like, nothing about her or what she's feeling. Just like I fall asleep because the fucking tit juice that I leak from my eyeball tits, like, makes albino spiders grow into men with fucking 4 arms like Goro from fucking Mortal Kombat and, like, murder people that I may or may not know. Like, what the fuck is going on? Chili Marco says, maybe his dick fell out of the costume. Maybe his dick fell out. The costume has a hole. Yeah, I did notice that. I did notice there's a split seam at the bottom. You could see behind the Ken doll lacking of penis and balls. That, it's ridiculous. So I don't know if that answers your question, Robbie. I mean, I think it looks like the still shot. It looks great. But when you fucking speed that up 24 frames per second and you're watching the video, it looks terrible. It looks like it looks shot on video. There's nothing cinematic about it. There's nothing cinematic. It doesn't feel cinematic. It feels like cheap, made for TV. It feels amateur. It does not feel, even though it's in HD, it feels like it was shot on video. It feels like a Cinemax movie is what it feels like. Honestly, if we're being honest here. I already talked about the split diopter shot, taste and ability. I said feels like softcore Skinemax. Here's something, ready? These stories are the visual embodiment of later era Glenn Danzig songs come to life. So I already kind of said this. That's what it feels like. That's what this fucking one felt like. That's what the last one with Contessa, obey your Contessa. Like literally nothing happens in that story. There's no plot to the third story at all. There's no plot. There's no story. It is literally people do things. It's just people doing things. This is a crazy shot of the whatchamacallit. People doing things to other people. This Contessa is literally just slitting the throats of blonde girls. Glenn Danzig's like, for the third story, I think it's going to be based on the Countess Bathory, where she is just ripping out organs and intestines and drinking blood. There's literally a scene where for 5 minutes she's just dunking in blood. And you know, the set piece is really cool, and we'll talk about this in the commentary. The set piece is really cool. It's kind of like a Danzig skull bathtub, and she's bathing in it, and she has this girl chained up. And Glenn is so obsessed with the fucking bathtub. He's so obsessed with the sculpture that like he forgets that while he's shooting this shit, that like nothing happens for 5 minutes, except for he's like, okay. So for the next 5 minutes, just sit and bathe in blood, okay? That's what I want you to do. You're going to bathe in her blood for the next 5 minutes while I shoot you. And that's literally what happens. Just two naked chicks. One of them's dead, topless, bloody titties, you know, and you're just going to be like, yeah, this is very artistic, very good. And there are some parts where he literally trips with the camera. There's one scene in particular where there is actual, I mean, this is crazy. You can see that they did some sort of warp drive effect. What the warp drive effect is, especially if you're in Premiere Pro, what you can do is you can stabilize footage using the warp stabilizer. Allows you to crop footage and sort of shift it around in a way. Basically what it does in some cases is it shakes the footage or adjusts the frame in such a way that it makes it look like everything is static or everything is not moving. You know what I mean? Or sort of stabilizes the image. And at one point, one of the shots, Glenn Danzig trips while, I'm assuming it's Glenn who trips, because why else would they keep the shot in the movie? It was some other guy that would have cut the shot out. But Glenn was like, no, I like that shot. Keep it in. You know, that sort of thing. Robbie says, Glenn said the Spider-Man actor had a hard time hearing throughout the set, because the people who created the costumes are dumbasses and forgot to add ear holes and forgot to add dick holes too. There's no dick. I mean, I guess there's like the seam or whatever. In any case, yeah, so this last short is like not even a movie. It's not even a music video. I mean, I guess it's a music video. It's like an extended music video with some dialogue and nothing happens. A girl gets bought by it's like a slice of life in the life of this Contessa lady, and that's all she fucking does. You know, it's just like, it's just fucking crazy. Let's see here. But I mean, this is like, it's like, I can imagine that third story just being like, Contessa, bathe in the blood of the Bond girls. Contessa, bathe in the blood of the blonde girls. All right, Tommy, give me a solo. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's what it is. It's literally, it's a Danzig song come to life in the form of a like, I don't even know. It's not even a music video. Because there's like dialogue and shit. Shocked by the soundtrack choices. And then I wrote, okay, so you have a stripper scene, because of course Glenn Danzig's writing this, I think in the middle, it's the middle story. Glenn Danzig's like, I need a setting for this next story. Of course, a strip club. Because, you know, Glenn Danzig has clearly been around a lot of strippers. And like, you know, I remember when I first emailed with Erie 11 or 12 years ago, I was emailing him tons of questions. And he told me that sometimes after Danzig shows, I wish I still had the email. He said sometimes after Danzig shows, we would have a cold dinner and there would be strippers stripping on stripper poles or something for like after party. I guess this was in the 90s at the height of his Danzigdom. And so it's just kind of like, I just imagine Glenn sitting at his keyboard, you know, like, oh, I'm glad I'm not touring right now. Okay. Okay. Interior strip bar. you know, and he just like using that as like this the setting, you know. And yeah, I mean, it just does it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me at least. Um, but it definitely feels like a Glenn Danzig song. And what shocked me was you have a scene directed and written by Glenn Danzig in a strip club, and there's no She Rides. How are you not going to use She Rides as the fucking song? Right? That made no sense to me at all. She'll take you down. She'll take you. Like it just would have totally worked in that that would have been a funny little nod. And then you get a London May cameo, right? It's like ooh, we have some shade being thrown at us. So let me get this straight, guy. You're a movie critic. You're about as exciting as watching a Siskel and Ebert film review. Are you a fan of GD? Or are you just here to tear him apart concerning his debut film, Toolbag? Okay. Uh Not even gonna answer that. That is all the attention you're gonna get from me. You have a nice day, Josh Gould, whoever you are. Bye. Um, so then we get a London May cameo. That's really fucking fun to see London for a few seconds. You would think, I'm like, why not have London? London's an actor. Like, why not have London star in the fucking thing? Why not have London star in the story? I don't know. That just makes sense to me. I hope that London is in his new film, the Death Rider spaghetti vampire western thing. Um, oh, here's what I wanted to say. So going back, so he has London is in the whatchamacallit. He's in this story. He's in a short film called Brutal something or whatever. Glenn Danzig knows a lot of fucking people. A lot of people. Why did he only use porn people? Why not get, and I guess there are Julian Sands and Danny Trejo are in the new film that's coming out. But why not cash a lot of favors? There's so many people that are diehard fans of Danzig. Like, why not call up Fred and Carrie from Portlandia after them, you know, asking him to do that amazing sketch that he does in Portlandia? You would think that Glenn would fucking call up, be like, "Yo, Fred, Carrie, get down here, let's do something." You know, have them be in it. He is surrounded by so many people that would probably easily work for scale on a $1 million budget. And I just think, I don't know. I think that just would have been really good. And so that's what I wrote here. Pulled favors for cameos. I just think it would have helped the film a lot more. Verotika is not to be graded. I don't know why I wrote that note. I don't know what the fuck that means. Verotika is not to be graded. Again, I'm like half falling out in and out of consciousness as I'm watching this film, and I don't even remember what happens at the end of the second story. I actually fell asleep. I'll have to when we rewatch it next week. I'll know what it is. I did write this. This is wrong, but the cops suck. I mean, that scene with the cops, the dialogue is terrible. It's just like, what? I mean, what the fuck? Like these cops don't sound. The cops were so weird sounding to me. It just it was definitely Glenn. You know, they say write what you know. It was definitely felt like Glenn not writing what he knew in any way, shape, or form. So then we're on to the third story, and I wrote right off the bat. I wrote 5 minutes of riding a horse and then fade out. So that's literally how the short opens. The third story with the Contessa, she fucking rides the horse for fucking 5 minutes straight, and nothing comes of the scene. It just ends. And so it was like, I just didn't understand what was the point of it. Like, what's the point of the scene? Just showing this. That's what I'm saying. Literally nothing happens. It's like I'm trying to imagine what the writing on the script on the screenplay page was like. Exterior field. The Contessa and her guards ride. That's it. That's all that would be written. It would take up 1/8 of a page. You know what I mean? I don't know. All right, so here's something that I wrote. Here's my biggest hot take of all. Ready for this? Here's the big hot take. The fuck is this? Huh. Ready for my hot take here, folks? Verotika is Glenn Danzig's Who Killed Marilyn. Right? So look at the single, the 7-inch, Who Killed Marilyn? And those songs, the versions of those songs are terrible compared to the Misfits versions. The Misfits versions sound so much better. Why? I feel like the instruments are played better. Obviously Glenn singing is great on either way on both, but there's Glenn extending himself again, overexerting himself. That's why Glenn always had a guitar player. That's why Glenn always had a bass player. That's why Glenn always had a drummer. I mean, yes, he's doing that stuff himself on like later shit, but like, that early in his career, he needed a band. And at that point in time, he's like, I need to do this myself. I'm going to do all this myself. So Verotika is almost like Glenn Danzig getting frustrated with Gay Rouge and then doing his own doing Who Killed Marilyn, but as a movie. If that makes any sense. Does that make any sense? I think that makes sense. Or that's what I'm trying to make sense out of that. So Verotika is Glenn Danzig's movie version of Who Killed Marilyn. Here's my note for this. Wolves with 3 exclamation points. Wolves. 11 minutes left, and she is having a conversation with a wolf. So there's 11 minutes left in this whole thing. I know technically it's not 11 minutes left in the whole thing because the third story is, all the stories are standalone from each other. But it's like this thing is going to end in 11 minutes. And she's having a conversation with a wolf. And that's when I ultimately realized afterwards. I think this is what I ultimately realized. Glenn Danzig is a lot of this movie feels like a Herschel Gordon Lewis film. And for those of you who don't know, Herschel Gordon Lewis is considered to be the godfather of gore. He's one of the first gore masters in the history of cinema. You have a few that predate him. One would really be Eyes Without a Face. Another is the Japanese film Jigoku. 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 Which has some pretty grisly scenes in it. And then after that, it's not until 1963 when Herschel Gordon Lewis makes Blood Feast. And that, there's a Misfits song called Blood Feast. And that's where you see gore for the first time. And this feels like, to me, partially, it feels like him also trying to make his own Blood Feast in the sense of like, wanting to control, Herschel Gordon Lewis shot all that stuff himself. And look at the camera work in Blood Feast. It's fucking terrible. Talk about all that zoom shit and like master shots and like shooting high up angle, like just really like shoddy camera work. And so from that angle, so Glenn takes all of his influences, right? He takes all this stuff, he puts it out there, he puts it out before a crowd. The crowd fucking laughs. Glenn is not expecting this reaction. As a matter of fact, my friend Charlie Fitz, aka Kane Tabble, my good buddy Charlie, he said he was at the Cinepocalypse premiere, and he said that Glenn was definitely flustered afterwards and did not want to take any pictures or sign any autographs like he did at every other premiere afterwards, probably because he really needed to have some sort of re-examination, right, on some level with what he had just made, not expecting people to laugh or, and I think, like what Robbie's saying, he's embraced what it is, that it's a blood feast, that it's a plan 9 from outer space. Tony says Gore Girls was great. That was another one of HGL's films. Huge influence on John Waters. I mean, that's what ultimately happens. We watch art, we get inspired, we try to incorporate the aesthetics that we really like about this art into our own work, but our ability sets us back. And then what we create is something completely different from what we intended. And that's what happened here with Verotika. And so, yeah, it's easy to fucking laugh and make fun of Glenn Danzig, but like ultimately, when you look at it through a true critical lens, when you look at it and you really break down who Glenn Danzig is as a person, when you break down what he's really trying to do here, and when you see, how he tries to bridge the gap between his ability and his fucking his taste, you can understand how a movie like Verotika gets made. And I'm really looking forward to the next one, man. I hope Glenn Danzig never stops making films. I don't want him. I hope he makes 100 movies. Truly, like not 100. I mean, I would be very happy if Glenn did 10 films. You know what I'm saying? Let him keep making them, man. I think he will get better and better and better. I mean, it's his first fucking film. I think he'll get better and better and better as he fucking goes on. I think he will. He's working with actual name actors this time around. Who knows what's gonna come out? But just the idea that I'm gonna make a spaghetti western where everyone's a vampire. It's called like the House of the Death Rider or something, or Death Rider in the House of something. I don't know. It sounds fucking interesting, and I hope he takes things to the next level. I hope it's not more of the same. And I guess what he had signed was he had signed a 2-picture deal with Cleopatra. I hope he makes more, man. I hope he doesn't stop. So in any case, I think this is the end of our episode. I can't talk anymore. My voice is hoarse. Tune in next week on Monday. Hopefully, I believe it's a Monday. So here's the other thing. Last thing I want to say. Every year, I do 31 days of Halloween. What is that? It started off where you watch one movie for every day of the month of October, 31 movies in 31 days. It didn't have to be consecutive, meaning if you skip a day, you watch 2 the next day, that sort of thing. But over the years, I have started, Tony says, sounds like From Dusk Till Dawn 3, which I fucking love that movie, Tony. Love that movie. I've started over the years to make it more than that. 31 days of Halloween has gone from doing 31 movies in 31 days to watching as many horror films as I possibly can in those 31 days. My record is 50 films in 31 days. Mind you, that was at the time with a family, a baby, a full-time job. Now being unemployed, it might be effortless to get to my goal of 60 films. That's 2 films a day. Although I'm sure I'll probably skip. One of those films is going to be my second viewing of Verotika. I usually try and not watch horror stuff in September because October is going to be all horror shit. And so I hope that you will all join me as I sit and watch Verotika. You could try and sync it up with me, but it may not work. I think there might be a 10-second delay. We got to figure out what the delay is. Again, in an ideal world, we could do this in a way where we're actually watching the movie and I'm doing a commentary to the movie while we're watching it. I don't think that's going to happen. There's only one way that happens, actually. I have an idea. No, I think I have an idea, actually, that might allow us to do that. But I have to look into a few things. All I'm going to say is you better fucking join the fucking Facebook group. You can buy Verotika. I have links to buy Verotika or to stream it on Shudder legally in this chat. So support Glenn and his movie by doing one of those 2 things. And again, I'll just keep figuring out what the best way to do it. If anybody knows anything about latency and stuff with streaming, because again, ideally, I'd like to have it so that we can all press play at the same time and watch together in real time. And then after we watch, the fun is not over. We're going to sit and we're going to do our very first fucking audience symposium show. I've been wanting to do this for a long fucking time. And I just, every week there's something comes up and I'm like, oh, well, I keep pushing it till next week. I think the best thing that we can do, perfect. Amanda says that she has the movie and she could play hers at home. So great. So then that's what you'll do. Just try and sync it up, Amanda. So after the film is over, I'm going to do what you might have seen happen on other shows with StreamYard. I'm going to put the link in the comments and I'm going to invite people to come onto the show and talk about Verotika and, introduce themselves and get a little face-to-face time. We're not going to be able to I don't know how many people I can have in here at the same time. Maybe I'll bring in a couple people and then, sort of like shuffle people in and out so that everybody who wants to be in on it can get a turn. Rue, the plan is next Monday, which is October 5th. Whoa, that was nuts. I just like dismissed myself from my own studio. That was crazy. So what we're going to do is, so the idea is to have everybody come on. I'm going to have a link in the comments, and then you guys will be able to come in here, and you can say what you can say, your 2 cents about Verotika. And again, if you're just going to say the movie fucking sucks and like, fuck this movie, like, then don't say anything at all. If you have actually something to say of note, of merit, like actually like say something with weight to it, then I encourage you to come on and talk about the movie. I'm not interested in tearing Glenn Danzig down. I hope that everything that I did here tonight on the show didn't feel like me tearing him down. And fuck whatever that one guy, fuck that guy. He doesn't fucking understand the show. He's clearly came into this and did not know how much we fucking worship and love Uncle Glenn and Uncle Jerry and Uncle Doyle and all the rest. That's basically it. So look, I'm exhausted. I got to wake up tomorrow. I got to get the kids. So October 5th, tune in. I'll try and promote the shit out of that shit. And great episode tonight, guys. Sorry, I felt like I tripped over my words a lot. I don't know. When I pull this for clips, if I'll see if that's true. Okay. Peace and hair grease. Thank you all again. Check out the fucking merch. Buy some T-shirts if you feel like repping. Buy some coffee if you feel like supporting. Click some ads. Fuck.